Welcome back to the TriFecta Airsoft podcast. I'm your host, E-Rock. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss another podcast. Also, do me a favor. Go on to whatever podcast app you listen to us on and give us a rating and review. That really helps us rank in the searches. Thank you so much. Let's get into the podcast.
We got a little backdrop going, just in case. So
yes, look at that.
Spice it up a little bit.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, dude.
So,
welcome, man.
I'm going to try and hide this. We're not going to talk
What's
about
that?
the broken headphones. It's tape.
Oh, I can't even tell.
All right,
it looked
cool.
like part of the it looked like part of the pad up there.
All right, we'll just roll with that then.
On the camera? Yeah.
So,
That's what it looks like to me. Hell yeah.
all right.
Well, I think when I so the resolution you're seeing now, when I post these, it's downscaled a little bit. I think because when I save these in my editing program, I don't save it on the highest res.
Okay.
It's a lot faster to do it on the lower
Yep.
good setting instead of best. It's a lot faster to render and save and all that shit.
Completely understand that.
Yeah, and this isn't like the video quality doesn't have to be perfect on podcasts. You know,
Because most people just listen on audio.
right.
Yep.
Right. So I started doing that. Now, a lot of the other videos we do or have done in the past, the reviews and stuff like that, especially if I get close-ups on different pieces of the guns, that's all the highest quality I can get. And it takes a longer, but then again, they're not, those videos are like, I might have 30 minutes of video to get 5-minute video out of. These are
exactly.
an hour and a half, an hour to
It's just
who knows how long.
Almost like a raw video, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
for real. So you won't even notice that.
Yep. It's understandable.
Hell yeah, man. Dude,
Sweet.
it's I'm really glad you're able to get on here. So I think I first heard about you or found you on Instagram or whatever from Admin Airsoft. That's what I want to say.
Evan,
Okay.
the homie.
Evan, yeah, buddy. And it's funny because I've talked about you or referred people to your page a handful of times in the last, month or so.
Wow.
A lot more people are younger guys, or younger people starting to get into photography and getting the newer cameras and stuff. And I'm like, oh, have you seen Trenton, his page? Like, dude, you got to go check it out. Like some of the shots you have are amazing.
Thank
For
you
real.
so much. I think that means a lot. And like, obviously you've been in the scene for a long time, so you've seen plenty of photographers. So that means a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, for real. I remember when I first started following your page, I was like, some of the posts you had, I was like, is this like right around where you're at, or are you traveling? Like, are these local shots you're getting from some of these animals and stuff, especially the owls? Man, is that your favorite one to shoot?
Yeah,
Animals?
if you can't tell.
Or owls?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I can't lie.
Yeah.
It's probably because of how hard they are to find. And like, once you find where they are, they're only there for a certain amount of period. So it's kind of fun, keeps you going, keeps you looking. And it's just kind of gives me something to do. I've always loved nature. So of course it's right up my alley. But most of the shots are local. I have one place that's within a 20-minute drive from me, and then most of the other ones are within like an hour and a half. So, but it's honestly just a lot of times driving out there, looking around, not seeing anything. So it just takes time, and that's kind of like what I like about it. It's rewarding once you get a good photo.
Right. Yeah. Well, it takes some effort, especially some time. I was going to say, there with all the nature shots, I saw the one recently, man, with I think it was a rattlesnake.
Possibly. Yeah.
It
Water
was,
moccasin?
yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe that's it.
With the mouth open?
Yes.
Yep.
Dude, holy shit. Like, I don't know how, I'm sitting there looking at it going, this had to take some time to get in the right position, to sit there and wait. You're like, with what I've talked with other people that do a lot of sniping and airsoft, like real life sniping, or, like watch Kicking Mustang, like some of these longer games, you're kind of doing that. You got to get in a position and creep into a position and then settle down and let the environment kind of go back
Yeah.
to natural around you. You don't scare shit away.
Yep.
Uh, and then get these shots. I was like, wow, that's
That's
amazing.
how. So there are some shots. I'm not gonna like lie. Obviously, a lot of them you can get from driving because most of these
Hmm.
places I go to are public. But they do have like it does take time because you're still trying to find where animals may be and whatnot. You can't just go there and be like, oh, like it's not like a zoo or nothing. Like it's complete
Hmm.
wild, just open land for people to go and roam. And
Right.
there are some times that you get lucky and you're just kind of driving along the road and you will spot something. So, like at one point, I found a rattlesnake just kind of sitting on the road, and there was a lot of cars going on this road because it was towards one of the places I was heading. And I was like, I'm gonna move this guy, and he wasn't moving or nothing, super docile. So I moved him
Uh,
off the road, and I was like, man, I have my camera. Let me just grab a few photos. So there are some like there are some occasions that happens, but
yeah.
sometimes also you're out, you're driving at 5:30 in the morning to Brazos Bend, which is a local spot that a lot of Texans will know, and you're going out there and just walking trails and just kind of listening and waiting, and yeah, so it's definitely pays off though. It definitely pays off, I would say.
Yeah. Now the owl stuff, are they kind of will they scare easily?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so do you have to do like kind of stay far away and use the telephoto lenses and all that shit?
Most of the time for owls, you're gonna have to use a telephoto lens. If anyone like is able to use a wide lens or anything else to get close to them, props to them because that's crazy. But
Hmm.
most of the time, you have to use a telephoto lens, and sometimes you can find an owl that'll kind of chill out for a little bit. So owls, what they'll do is they'll kind of sit and they're super camouflage. Like naturally, like once they fly into a tree, like with your like the human eye, it's so hard to like be able to pick them apart. And that's one of the
Yeah.
fun things I like too, is you're kind of like having to like I don't know, it's just kind of a challenge. But
Yeah.
with owls, most of the time they'll fly off. They'll kind of give you like 10 seconds before they fly off. And the biggest thing too as a wildlife photographer is you don't want to spook the animals and stress them out. So with owls, usually I'll take my photos and I'll just drive off or walk off or I'll just kind of sit there if it doesn't know I'm there.
Yeah.
So there are some times that it'll spook and you try not to spook them as much as possible because then that might, eliminate the chance of you seeing it again. So yeah,
Yeah, right. No kidding. Yeah, they're beautiful birds
they
to
are.
look at, and you got some really good shots. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I knew that it was one of your favorite animals. I think you made a post about it a few months ago that this is one of a rare
Yeah.
thing. Like you
Yep.
had been searching for this owl for a long time or something, and finally got the shot.
So the story behind I don't want to like dive too far because I'll if you're a photographer, you understand that photographers can just ramble on about photography for hours. So I'm gonna
That's all
try and
right.
keep I'll try and keep it shorter. Now we don't have to edit too much. But
Oh, I don't edit, man. Fuck
oh,
that. I ain't
fair
editing.
enough.
No, these are great, dude. No, you
Sweet.
just talk whatever. If somebody don't want to listen to it because it's not 100% talking about airsoft the whole time,
They can click off.
yeah, dude,
All
whatever.
right, I got it. Yeah, so this owl, it's called a great horned owl, and there was probably when I was doing wildlife photography, I always wanted to like get a photo of an owl. That was kind of just like one of those animals that you kind of like have on your list. But this owl in specific was one of the more rare ones in the areas. Most of the time, you hear owls outside when you're like out at night or anything. But this one, it looks cool because it has like these pointy ears and it just looks like different. And when you see
Yeah,
it up close, you're able to like tell from a distance. Like naturally, when I was younger and I saw owls, I didn't think much of them. But so this owl there was like a year that I could not find an owl, and I was just out all the time looking for them. And I would hear
yeah,
them and everything, and there would be times I would find one, and it would fly up in a tree, and as soon as it hit the tree, it was just like blended in. I couldn't see it. Like it's
wow,
it's crazy, and they're
yeah,
so stealth that they can like fly right past you. You won't hear anything. Like most birds, you kind of hear something, but they're
mm-hmm,
they are crazy stealthy. But
hmm,
yeah, and there was a few times where I'd find an owl, and something would happen to where like it would just take off as soon as I seen it, or if you're in a public place, you have people walking on trails sometimes, and there'd be kids running down the trail, spook it off.
yeah,
Or the one time I took a photo, and I was like, "That looks like an owl in the tree." And I took a photo. I look at my camera. I'm like, "Oh no, it's not." And I drove off, and I get home, and I have it on my computer, and I'm like, that was an owl. Why didn't I just like stop and take the photo? And
Oh shit.
it was so dark I couldn't tell. But there's just times you can't. Yeah, it's just a lot of waiting and just you got to keep trying. So eventually, I was able to find a pack of owls. Actually, it was a mom and a dad, and they had just had babies. So I was able to get photos of the parents and then the baby owls, which was awesome. So yeah, and that the shot. Trying to think, the shot was probably the most perfect owl shot I'll ever get. Obviously, I'm going to try and get better ones, but the reasoning is because the way the sunset was behind the owl, it kind of reflected like perfectly around like a silhouette. You create like a really cool rim lighting, and then the background there wasn't a tree for like a long distance, which made the background super blurred out. And it was just looked directly at me. Yeah, I don't think I could have done anything better in the moment to get a better shot. And then the edit on it was like I didn't. So I got the photo and I waited probably 2 weeks before I posted it because I was trying to get like the best edit I could when I posted it because I was so happy about it. And I kind of hyped it up because I posted like a shot similar of the same owl, and it got like over like 100 likes within like a week, I think. And I was like, hopefully everyone loves this shot as much as I do. And I posted it, and it was like it popped off, thankfully. And I was like, because there's some shots I'll post, and I'm like, this is like one of my favorite photos, and then like it just flops. And then there's a shot that like I'll have on my computer forever, and then when I finally do post it, everyone loves it. I'm like, what? What do you guys like about this shot?
Oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, that was definitely interesting, but I'm glad it paid off and everyone liked it. That I know of. So
now the one you're talking about with the good owl picture, can I bring that up on the screen?
Yeah, do you want me to?
Is that on your Instagram?
Yes, sir. I can send you a link if you want.
Yeah, I got it pulled up already. I'm gonna share the screen with you.
Okay.
So you can kind of see what you see it there?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me move this real quick.
That is a really awesome page.
Isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, dude, look at this one. This is the one I was talking about. That is crazy. So how do you okay, explain this one because you're just sitting there snapping away until it just like opens its mouth, or what did you do?
So this one, there was probably like a week or two in the like last few days that I was just out trying to find a lot of owls because there's been a lot out recently. And this guy, so it's funny because I just gotten a thing, they're like snake grabbers. So it's like a little like end on the end of the stick and it just kind of like grabs snake.
Right.
And I got it. And I got it because a lot of times I will see snakes in the road and stuff and they won't move. And I don't want to like straddle it or run it over with the car. So I got that way I can safely move it out of the way. Well, I just got those in. I'm like, I'm going to go and see if I can find any snakes. And so I went out, checking. I couldn't find anything. Ended up finding an owl. And the owl flew off. But as it flew off, I was kind of like, well, maybe I'll head out. So I hop in the car, driving off on this road, and I end up seeing this guy on the side of the road. And I'm like, dude, this look awesome. Let me get some more photos. So I went over, took some shots, and then went to kind of like step around him to see if he would move, and he wouldn't move. And he opened his mouth at me. And I was like, okay, well, this looks cool. So I took a few photos, walked back to the car, grabbed the snake grabbers, picked them up, and then went over and set them in the grass. And it sucks too because I had my GoPro recording, but it was angled up because when I hopped out of the car, I hit the GoPro on the like the roof of the car. So the video wasn't too good. I was gonna post that, but yeah. So he gave me some really cool shots, and in return, I got him safely off the road.
That's cool, man. Wow, that's amazing. I used to snake hunt when I was growing up.
Really?
And and the area I grew up in, all we had were mostly like garter snakes, and then I found one water moccasin that was about, I don't know, maybe 18 inches long.
Wow.
Real fat.
Yep.
And I caught that thing with a giant, it was along a creek. And my dad was with me. I was like 12 years old. I was just fascinated with snakes when I was growing up. And still am. It's one of my favorite animals, actually. So I trapped it with a stick, just kind of held it down in the mud, and then I went and grabbed it. And I had this pouch, whatever, I'd throw these snakes in. And yeah, man, it was pretty cool. But and then when I was in the military, we caught rattlesnakes. I was with this guy that grew up in, was from Texas,
Yep.
and he's like, oh, and he showed me how to catch rattlesnakes. And,
Wow.
oh yeah, we just catch and release. We were just
Yeah,
like,
just have fun.
dude, it was, yeah, I was fascinated. I remember the first one I got was a diamondback, and I was holding it up, and of course it's wrapped around my arm, squeezing and everything, and but I've got it on the neck, and I'm
Mhm.
looking at it, and I'm just like, man, this thing is fascinating. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But I never had any pictures back then
gotcha.
of any of that stuff. So I see your page. It's really fascinating to me.
That's awesome.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
I
man.
know, I know when I was younger, I hit this phase. I was always kind of like, it's kind of weird. I was always into animals in a sense. And I
Yeah.
remember when I was younger, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then now I'm looking to, at some point, possibly going to be a game warden to start the academy for
Oh,
that. But I
nice.
know when I was younger, we lived for like, I think 10 years when we first moved to Texas. And I'm actually from Florida, so that might explain a
Okay.
lot of my, you know, shenanigans. But we moved to Texas, and for like 10 years, we were kind of like in the country. Well, where we were by a creek, so there was naturally a lot of like snakes and stuff. And I remember I was like super fascinated with snakes. I would go find rat snakes and kind of like look at them from afar. I was like, man, that's really, really cool. I want to get a pet snake. So I got on this roll where for like the longest time I wanted a ball python. And
Yep.
my parents were like, "You're not getting a snake." I'm like, "I want a snake." They're like, "You're not getting one." And for a year straight, I just like bothered them daily. Look at this video. Look at this snake. Look at this one. And I guess finally for Christmas one year, uh, I had enough money at the end. I was like, I have enough for like a python. I think I was like 14, 15. And they're like, "You're not getting a snake." I was like, man, like I have enough of everything. You're not gonna let me get one. Well, I ended up walking back from my room out to the living area where our whole family was, and lo and behold, they bought me the ball python. It
Oh
was like a
shit.
Christmas gift. So I ended up getting that, and within like the next week or so, I found a garden snake outside. So I got the garden snake and put him in a cage as well. And so I had two snakes. And the garden snake, I would go and find minnows in the creek and just feed them to him. And he would get in his water bowl and like grab them and everything.
Oh shit.
So I think that kind of is what started my interest in snakes. And I also understand that at first they look scary. Well, I mean, that snake shot is pretty intimidating, to be fair. Where he's
For
got his mouth
sure.
open like that. It looks a little creepy. But I
Yeah.
do know, like, if you respect them, obviously, if you're aware of like how they act, like which ones are venomous. Obviously, this one's venomous, but I was aware of that. I know I'm not gonna like touch it with my bare hands. I'm not gonna risk,
Right.
especially when you're out like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, because you got about 20 minutes before you start, feeling the
Yeah,
really bad effects.
yeah, not something I want to experience just yet. Maybe later.
Right?
Maybe later.
No kidding. Yeah, you got a bunch of them that are really cool.
Yeah, I try to. They're fun. I've been experimenting lately with wider shots. So having like
Okay.
instead of like having a super zoomed lens, kind of taking wider photos like on the ground up next to the snakes. And there's a shot I'm looking to get because right now I'm kind of working on a little something behind the scenes to sell, and
Okay.
I'm gonna have a bunch of cool photos put into a book essentially. But I'm trying to get a shot right now of like a snake, like a water moccasin specifically. Oh, voice crack. A water moccasin specifically
Yeah.
up close on the camera. So we're gonna try and I'm just gonna see if I can get it or not. Hopefully I can. But it's a little sketchy with how close it is. But yeah.
Hmm. Now let me ask you this: if do you offer where I could purchase one of these pictures on that's an actual print, like
So
and get it framed?
so I have in the past. The only
Yeah.
issue is on my page. Majority of the people that follow me are photographers, and photographers usually aren't interested in buying other people's prints. It's kind of
Right.
weird how that works, but
Well, sure. Yeah, they have their own.
yep, yep. But I am working on that along with the photo book thing as well. So that'll be
Well,
I'm gonna be
maybe
trying
I'll
to get.
hit you up after because I would definitely like one of these snake shots framed on my wall.
That'd be pretty.
If you offered something like that, I would definitely be down
Yeah,
for doing something like that. I mean, they're amazing.
You should look at the rattlesnake one. I think it's further down.
Is it further down?
I believe so.
And I want to see that owl one you're talking about too, with the blurred background.
Trying to find the.
There's your airsoft stuff too. We'll get to the airsoft stuff here in a second. I'm just fascinated with these pictures, man. So listen, anyone that's listening or watching this, if you want to, double tap the screen on YouTube or whatever till we get to airsoft talk. If you're, just waiting for that, go ahead. If not, just watch this stuff.
You can see too, and so a lot of people, what they'll do, photographers, they will delete all of their old photos because they don't want people scrolling down, seeing their old photos, and being like, "Wow, they were terrible back then." And I've had a lot of people tell me to delete my old photos because of that. But I feel like it's kind of cool just to be able to scroll down and see the progress, because
Absolutely.
Back then, if you look at those photos, those are really bad. Those are awful. But
I don't know. I mean, to me, they're not. But I'm not a photographer, so
I feel like for me, knowing what I'm capable of now too is kind of a big thing with it.
Right. Well, you mean I like to see that the progression of In fact, I was just talking with somebody the other day, one of the podcasts that hadn't come out yet, that we were talking about that same thing. He's got a lot of followers, a lot of subs on YouTube, like 40,000 something subs on YouTube. He's got handful of videos, and he's got and we were talking about that. I asked him, have you ever wanted to go back and have you deleted any of your earlier videos? Because once when you first start out, they're kind of cringe. And he's like, yeah, I thought about it. I said, I did too. But then I was like, no, man, this is where, the beginnings, you got to see, you can see the progression.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going for the, it's still farther down, the one I'm looking for.
Here, I can show it to you real quick. I don't think.
Yeah, I'll do that. Let me stop sharing the screen and you, there we go.
There we go.
Oh shit, look at that.
Up close and personal.
That is cool, man. Wow.
A little closer than I should have been. If I won't lie. Just a tad closer than I should have been.
I mean, look at him though. He's like, whatever, dude.
He was very docile, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I mentioned it earlier, it was in the middle of just sitting out on the concrete, just tanning. And it's light for the day, and he was really docile. Didn't even rattle once or nothing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, they're most people don't know this about snakes. They're not aggressive like that. There's maybe a couple of types of snakes in the world that will kind of chase you or whatever.
Yep.
But most of them are, hey, just stay away from me and I'll stay away from you. And
Yep.
you can get kind of close. Like even rattlesnakes, you can walk, you could step fairly close to them. They'll rattle, but they won't strike. Yeah. They just look really scary, And then of course, most people growing up with church background, they think it's the devil, So
Luckily, my parents did not think that.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I remember when I first told my mom, that I wanted to go snake hunting, she was like, oh, it was this big, and then she's Italian too. So she was all into the all-seeing eye and the, you're going to get cursed. And
Wow. I do know my parents, it's kind of interesting because they're not very patient. It's kind of weird because I'm just the odd one out in the family. I love being out in nature, just kind of getting to watch it and everything. It's just really cool for me. But sometimes they'll be like, why don't you ever invite us to go out with you? And I'm like, well, I mean, you can. You're just gonna be really bored. they're like, no, and then they go out with me, and then they're sitting there on their phone or something. They get bored. Or I know if I ask my dad to go within the first like 10 minutes, he'd be like, all right, let's go. We haven't seen anything.
Oh shit!
But yeah,
You're like, no, it takes a little longer than that.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I would be. I definitely. Well, I can talk to you or message you after this. Um, I'd definitely be down for one of those pictures. Like I said, I don't. I mean, I could. I can get it framed. I've seen online where you can get something framed
I
and
I can do. I had a website for a while that you
okay.
can order and pick your size and everything, and it'll just automatically frame it for you and get it shipped to you.
Yeah.
And I had that for a while, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I'd be down for that. For sure. So, yeah, very, very. Well, as soon as I saw your page when I was scrolling through, I was like, okay, I would love to have one of these on my wall. Especially here in the office,
yeah, yeah. That'll look cool.
for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun. It really has. Wildlife photography is kind of a almost a hobby in a sense. It's just like
Yeah.
I'm not making much off of it, if
Right.
anything, really. Uh, Considering how much money I spend in gas, I'm losing a lot of money.
Mm,
But
hmm.
yeah, it's just fun. It's a way for me to get out, kind of like in a sense, kind of alone, and it's kind of I don't know. It's just challenging and fun. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
challenging. Plus, it's got to be a lot of peaceful moments.
it's actually really soothing. That's one of the
Uh,
if you're like wildlife photographers, it's kind of like an unknown secret that we all like. It's like an unknown rule that we all know. It's just like peaceful. But
yeah.
yeah,
Have you seen the movie with Sean Penn as a like super elusive kind of photographer, wildlife photographer, and
I've heard
it's Ben Stiller.
I've
I think
heard
it's
I've heard about it.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I think it's called, and there's a scene in there where he finds Sean Penn, and Sean Penn finally gets this long shot or long distance shot, photo of a snow leopard or some really hard animal to film, or and
On
in person anyway, besides the motion capture cameras they have or whatever, or motion activated cameras that some of them use.
Yep.
But so he finally gets this shot. And it was like a really kind of a epic scene in the movie. But I was attracted to it because I've always loved seeing the those kind of
elusive
how
animals.
the photographer gets these shots right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's interesting and like man, I'm jealous because there's some people who like they're like, man, I want to go find a like a snow wolf, and they're like, all right, I'm just gonna take a flight to Antarctica, and they just go, and then they have like they set up their tent, they have someone that's scheduled to come pick them up in 2 weeks or whatever, and it's just like some people like are just able to go out and do it, and then you have other people who like people like for me like I just got what's around me, and you got to make the best of it. Like I don't have a ton
Right.
of money to be flying out.
Yeah.
I
Travel.
would love to travel. I'm planning on working on some things soon to be able to kind of space out. But yeah, and
Okay.
and the thing is too with my area, like where we are in Texas, it's got a lot of awesome animals, but it gets almost repetitive feeling after a while. And
Right.
that's like with the water moccasins. Like I'm always trying to change up. Now I'm trying like different angles and everything because I'm like I got to keep it interesting. You don't want to just first you don't want to have the same shots that everyone else has, and you also don't want to just keep repeating your own shots.
Yeah.
So
Have you seen? I just saw. God, I can't remember where. Oh no, it was on Instagram, like the reels and stuff. There was this one, this guy. Have you seen these ones where they showed like the little reels where they it's a photographer where they have their camera set up and you'll see like a short video of them like doing something, and then you see the shot. So
yeah,
you'll see somebody throwing something into powder or whatever, and there was a guy who was his first shot was him holding this some like a stalk of some kind of plant, like a long leaf of some kind of plant. And then the next shot was it was like some tiny insect, but
oh,
this super close photo where you could see all the detail of the bug eyes and I've never seen this insect before, but it was green and colorful, and but the shot was so crystal clear. I was like, damn, dude. Like some of the stuff I know you can edit, but
Yeah,
you can't edit focus, right? Like you can sharpen something,
yeah, but you can't
but
like,
if it's not captured in that photo, you can't really make it more detailed,
yeah,
per se.
not to the extent that like, so that's macro photography, and like those people are, it's crazy. Like so much respect to those people. It's even like have even be able to find like what you're looking for,
Yeah.
much less like get your focus set perfectly and get that close to it. It's the yeah, those people are they're a different breed, that's for sure.
Are you into keeping up on all the new camera stuff coming out and lenses, and do you kind of watch the trends of new things coming out?
For the most part, I kind of stick more to what's native to my camera in general. And I mean, I just bought a camera recently, so I
Gotcha.
have not really kind of forcing myself to stay away from all the new cameras for a little
Yeah.
bit. We gotta wait, but yeah, a lot of the
Well, give us a
newer,
rundown on what you're using, in case somebody, I know there's a lot of people that are, in, interested in photography and filming. Obviously, a lot of airsofters do that. Get into it. So, what's your gear? What's your loadout for photography?
gotcha. So for I'll start with like my basic setup for wildlife photography first. For wildlife, I have a Canon R6 and a Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter lens, which is allows you to get like super zoomed in shots and everything, which is like mostly what I post on my Instagram. For airsoft, I mainly use my 24 to 105 Canon R lens, and then probably my main go-to other than that would be the Canon 85 millimeter. It's just a lens, you can't zoom it or nothing, but it's
Oh,
stupid sharp. It is so sharp.
really?
Yeah. So, and that lens is only like $200. So it's like my main. It's also helps that it's cheaper because if it gets shot out or anything, then it's not too much to replace. But I've had that lens since I started doing airsoft stuff, and it's still my go-to.
Okay. Were you into film or photos and everything before you got into airsoft, or did you start playing airsoft and then got into photos?
I would say like seriously playing airsoft, we're not going to count like backyard playing as a kid or nothing.
Right.
I would definitely photos. I think I got into. I was always doing video, but I think photography mainly kicked off like right when COVID hit, and
Gotcha.
I got into photography. I got a job at my local newspaper doing photojournalism as a freelance photographer, and that kind of gave me a lot of opportunities to shoot different things, which was like it could be candids of like events, it could be sports photography of a high school football team. So I kind of got a lot
Oh,
of experience from that,
nice.
and yeah. But airsoft's probably one of the top three for sure fun things to shoot.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's my 85 millimeters, my main go to. Obviously, if you're in it, like when I go to Milsim events, I don't have a lot of opportunities to
Hmm.
like if I miss a shot that I kind of needed. It's kind of one of those things that like, man, I can't let that happen again. So most of the time for those events, I'll either run my 24 to 105 since I can zoom, or
Oh,
my wildlife lens 150 to 600. But you got to be a little more careful though. You don't get them shot out because those are a little bit more expensive.
I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So the last one you mentioned, the 24 to 600, I don't know any of these
Yeah. No, you're fine.
lenses.
You're fine.
The
Yeah. 150.
600. So I know, rifle scopes, I'm guessing they're similar. Like a 3 by 9, 9 times zoom is, it's 9 times closer, basically.
It's
So
weird.
how are those rated?
It's weird because I have tried finding this out before, and I want to say there's not like an official measurement between it.
Okay.
But yeah, I've wondered that before actually. So
Yeah.
I've tried looking
Oh,
it up and I couldn't find out.
somebody's getting taken down, bro. We hear the
Wasn't me.
siren.
Wasn't me. Oh man. But yeah, I don't think there's an actual way to measure it because then you also have different cameras. Some cameras are cropped in more. It just, I don't know.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
I guess if one of
Was
the
that was
viewers,
that a long learning process for you when you started like when you got the new camera and you switching lenses and learning all the settings on the camera and all that kind of stuff? Did you have training in that before?
so like, did I do like any classes or anything?
Yeah, classes.
I did. I've never taken one photography class at all.
Mm,
I learned everything from going out and shooting and just trial and error and YouTube. That is literally like that's how
yeah.
I learned everything. If I like didn't know something, I'd look up on YouTube or find like an old forum or something. But other than that, it's just honestly been shooting, kind of teaching myself, which
Gotcha.
I feel like kind of was kind of good because I was kind of able to like be hands on immediately and learn everything. But it definitely took a lot longer than it would have for most people. I'm sure if, you did a class or something. But I would
Yeah.
definitely recommend if you're doing photography, just go out and just honestly shoot as much as you can. There's times for I was shooting for like months straight. But yeah, it's definitely the more you shoot, the better you get. And if you can like keep shooting as much as possible, you can keep those like skills kind of toned in.
Right.
So, but yeah.
That's cool. So now, how do you find time to play airsoft when you're always filming and
Uh,
photoing?
Most of the time, if I do play, so like right now, our team's about to go to Copperhead in September, early September,
Mm,
and my plan is to play one day and then just take photos and videos the other day. Now, a lot of times with the team that I'm with, obviously we'll talk about them in a little bit, but most of the times, like for their events and stuff, I'm just doing photos and video. There are some occasions I'll play if it's like a night game. Obviously, you can't do much filming when it's like pitch black
right.
outside. But for the most part, it's kind of just if I play, it's like an open play with some friends or something. So if it's something more serious, though, I'll take photos, and it is still fun taking photos. It kind of sucks because I shoot people and they don't call their hits, but it's okay.
This is such a common thing, bro, in airsoft. It's so crazy.
Like I
Yeah.
know I have a camera and everything, but still, like I still did I still registered everything. You gotta call your hit. No, but yeah, it's fun.
Hell yeah. So how did you I didn't even know you were part of an airsoft team. I thought you
Really,
just yeah, I thought that maybe you just played casually here and there to kind of just go like mostly just to take photos.
honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm more into airsoft because of the photos. That
Gotcha.
I like. I think that's kind of what got me more interested into it and like kind of playing more. Obviously, I was always interested in airsoft as a kid, and there was a period there where, it's funny, our church, like our whole youth group and like kids center, like kids group and everything, were interested in airsoft. And so I was like, man, I'm gonna like deck out and like get like what I always wanted as a kid. So I
Yeah.
spent like you know how it goes. You spend months researching stuff, trying to get what you want, and that's kind of how we started. And we built a huge field in a friend's backyard, and he had like I think it was I want to say 20-ish acres or something. So we went back there and we're just cutting stuff down, building sniper towers, getting pallets, tires, everything we could
Oh
find.
shit, yeah.
And there near the end that we like last used it, we had it built up pretty good. We haven't used it in a long time, but it was interesting because the guy who owned the property, it was our youth leader, and he was connecting with like some airsoft players like locally on Facebook. And one of the people we connected with was like, "Man, I got a team and everything. I'll come out and like check out the field and everything, so we can do a game there." So he came out and I met this guy, and he was talking about how he was doing an airsoft event, and he was looking for a photographer. And I was like, "Wow, like she do photography?" He's like, "Really?" He was like, "You should come out and like I'll pay you or whatever. You come like hang out with everybody and just take photos." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So went to this event, and it was just like it was crazy because it was technically my first ever time being on a real airsoft field. And
Yeah.
then there I am with my camera being able to almost like show it like my first time seeing everything and taking photos of everything and doing video and whatever. And this group was like really awesome. They put on like a great event and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started shooting for this group more, and then they ended up pulling me in. They dragged me into their team. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I do photos for them, and the team is Ghost Frogs. If anyone's
Oh
wondering,
shit.
so
Yeah.
that's where I met Evan. Yeah,
Oh
so
okay. Maybe I did know that. Maybe he did say something about that when I first
probably
talked to him, but it's been a
probably.
while. Okay.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
that's how I met Evan, and we connected immediately almost because I mean we're both doing camera stuff, so it's just
Right.
kind of natured for photographers. But yeah, so it's the team I run with. Awesome
Okay.
team. It's like I'm not gonna sit here and brag about them. You know who they are. But
Yeah,
yeah,
man, for real. That's cool. Yeah, because with the first time I talked with him, did the podcast, he was still living in Texas,
yeah.
still part of
It-
that local team there. And then,
Some,
of course, the last couple times, or no, the two times I talked to him, he was in Texas, and then he was moving.
yep,
And he moved. Well, it's funny. You're from Florida, moved to Texas. He's from Texas, moved to Florida.
yep. It is. It's pretty funny. It's funny. Eventually, we'll
Yeah,
probably swap. We'll probably swap. But yeah,
no kidding, right?
pretty big coincidence.
Yeah, I told him. I think I was joking with him before when he's moving there. When he said, I was like, man, don't become one of those memes, the Florida man bad thing or something.
I feel like out of everybody that I've ever met, Evan would probably be the last person to become that meme. Evan's such a solid guy. But yeah, that's funny.
Oh, he's a good dude.
He is. He's awesome.
Well, the last time, let's see, no, it wasn't that. It was we were just chatting, just texting on Instagram, and I told him, I said, I really like those lawnmower shots you do. He was like, "What?" I was like, "Dude, they're funny, man. I love. They're. It's great." And he's like, "All right." He goes, "It's so weird. I've gotten a lot of feedback, like good positive feedback on these cutting my grass kind of shots or whatever."
Busting out the New Balances and all. Oh
Right?
man,
Or the
those
one
shots.
where the little short video he did where you see the lawnmower, you see the grass, and then he walks into the camera and it's like on the ground facing up,
Yeah,
and he kind of pulls his shorts up like, okay, here we go.
man. He moved to Florida and turned into a dad instantly. It was just like
Right?
that.
Oh yeah,
Those,
it's time
those,
to cut the grass.
it's crazy because I remember like first event I did for the Ghost Frogs. I was doing photography. It was like I was like, man, I got to play here. And I remember first time going back to the field and playing. There was this guy there. Everyone was like, they saw me with a camera and they're like, are you admin airsoft? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, who's admin airsoft? And he like had like billion fans at the field. It was awesome. I ended up meeting him and I was expecting like I don't know why, but like a lot of people that are kind of like I'm trying to say this nicely. A lot of people that are kind of like you just almost as a photographer, like you expect to meet like another photographer. Most of the times they're like super full of themselves. I guess it's
Hmm.
just I don't know. They're very prideful, and
Yeah,
so I was expecting to meet him and like him just be a jerk. And I met him. I was like, dude, like this guy's awesome. And we like
yeah,
instantly connected, and like we're talking about cameras and airsoft, and it was awesome. Evan's definitely like yeah, but it was cool seeing everyone like talk about him, and then like just watching his. I think when I met him, he probably had 200 to 300 followers, and now obviously he's almost at 2,000. He's sponsored by e-bike. It's crazy.
yeah.
It's been crazy watching him grow. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
kind of feel a little proud about that.
yeah, for sure, man. That's cool. Uh, yeah, really. Yeah, I'm glad I've talked with him. That led me to a couple of different people actually, because when I first talked with him, he was talking about the nods, night
Yep.
vision he was getting,
Yep.
and then he's like, "Oh yeah," and there was a guy, Radar.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the one
Yeah.
that got me into it, and then I did a podcast with Radar, met up with him, and he's a former Marine, same with me, and so we were like, "Oh yeah, it's cool." So I met a handful of people through Evan, which is it's a cool experience to
Yeah.
branch out that way.
Yeah. For sure. I will say, I think at some point you should reach out to the Ghost Frogs and try and do a podcast with the leaders. That'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Those guys, it either the video would get demonetized or it'd be the funniest video. I don't know though. But there's only one way to find out.
For real. Yeah, half of these that I post, I didn't. I recently started turning the monetization on the podcast, videos that I post, just to see if they would, allow it or whatever. Because most of our videos we post, they they're like they can be monetized, but they're limited. It's called limited ads. So it's like no, there's nothing really that happens with it. So it's like
Yeah.
not even a point to monetize it. So, but surprisingly, the last handful, even the ones where people show their gear, uh, they're it's like okay, no issue with it. It's weird. But
It's
yeah, who knows? It's
it's so
sometimes it
random. It's
does.
so random.
It's extremely random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We've tried to figure it out. Me and a handful of people have talked about this so many times in the past, and it's just I'm like, well, whatever. Who knows? I don't know. It's just one of those, where somebody's checking it or something after it
Yeah.
goes through its thing, and then if they're having a bad day, they're like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." Just any video that comes up, they're like, "Nope, fuck you."
Yeah, sometimes I feel like they don't even like. They just see the video and they're like, eh, or like they're just like
Eh,
see it. They don't even watch it. They're just like, nope.
yeah,
It's great. Yeah,
I
it
think
was
it's
like
like if it's a shitty video that they don't actually like, but it doesn't violate any kind of rules. They're still like, man, it's a shitty video. No, we ain't letting that get put into the mix of suggested videos.
you get an email that you need to like step up your video quality and everything
Right.
from YouTube. Handwritten, signed by a worker there. That'd be funny.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, YouTube's kind of just like, and I mean the thing is they're so big they can do whatever. Like honestly, and
Yeah.
that's how most social media is nowadays. Like
Hmm.
with Instagram, like a lot of photographers are having issues or they post their stuff and like the quality gets like compressed and
Ah.
it's just yeah. So social
Huh.
media's, and I mean you can't like you can sit there and complain, but at the end of the day they do what they want.
Yeah, there's more. Honestly, there's more, and I've talked, crap about the YouTube terms of service when it changed, for airsofters and stuff. But honestly, there's more good with Instagram, with YouTube, the two main things that I use. There's more good about it than there is bad,
Mhm.
and I feel like so. It's it's a great platform to meet people, to post things, and to learn from. I
Mhm.
mean, Christ, you were talking about and I've talked about this with people. Most of the things I learned how to do on my car because I fix all my own stuff on my
Mhm.
car or on my Jeep or whatever. So that's where I learned it from is YouTube
YouTube.
videos. Like,
Yep.
where else would you like in the old days growing up? You just had to know somebody that
Yeah.
knew it, and you'd go talk to them, or they would show you. But that's an all day project
Yeah.
just to learn.
I know recently I was going to hang out with some friends up in Houston area, and the night before my water pump on my Mustang went out, and I was like, "Dang it! I'm supposed to like ride like with like a bunch of friends are gonna jump in with me." I was like, "Crap!" So the next morning at like 6 a.m., me and my dad go and grab the part, whatever, come back, and we just pull up YouTube and look it up, and sure enough, it's like a full-on tutorial. It's like a 15-minute video, and it only took us like an hour, hour and a half, and had the water pump on, and I
Nice.
was gone. And it's
It's
just
great.
it's crazy that you just have access to that. I mean, obviously back then I can't speak on that too much because I'm only 19. So, but
Yeah,
I've heard my dad talk about it, like having to look up instructions and following
sure.
the manual and everything. But yeah, it's definitely YouTube has definitely made life a lot way too easy. I would say a
Yeah, it
little bit
really
too easy.
is. It's streamlined a lot of those processes,
Yeah, yeah,
like that, like the water pump thing. Most people. Well, you know what it's done too is it's taken these intimidating tasks. If like you would have never if you were by yourself or your dad, if you guys didn't know like how to do it on that car or whatever, like, and you didn't have this tool to use, YouTube to find this tutorial, whatever. It is it's really intimidating. It's like, man, I got to take off all these parts. I don't know what size of wrenches I need, what
yeah,
size of whatever I need, and a lot of these tutorials are are actually listing out the parts
yeah, yeah.
or the tools that you need, the size wrenches, the size sockets, the size everything. So, and step
Making
one, step two,
making life so much easier. It
it does. Yeah, that's really cool.
is.
Yeah, man. So you guys are going to is that Iron Claw event, the or Lion Claws, the Copperhead one you're talking about going to?
Copperhead. It's by American Milsom.
American Milsim, that's right.
It'll be in New
Okay.
Mexico. So
Ah.
we'll get to shoot the enemy and the skinwalkers. So yeah,
Is
that'll be fun.
that a far drive for you guys?
16 hours.
Oh shit. Woo.
Yep. I
I feel like unless you live like Texas is so big, unless you live like if you're driving to another state, unless you live right on the edge of the Texas border,
yeah.
It's a it's a day
And
drive at least.
where we are, we're like right under Houston,
Mm.
so we're kind of in the like worst spot possible,
Mm-hmm.
depending on how you think about it. But like trying to like drive out of state, we're like in the worst spot. It's yeah, it makes everything long. So
Yeah, for real.
I'm pretty sure at least like 10 of those hours, 13 of those hours would be in Texas, just
Yeah, that's
driving.
crazy. Yeah.
It's nuts, but
Now look, you're by Houston. Did you you know that Evike had that new store and field open up, High Grounds, I think.
yeah,
Is that fairly close to you or?
it is in Cyprus. So the old, I've been to the old store, but they had the grand opening and everything, and our team actually had a booth there.
Oh,
So because we were, the team's pretty close with a lot of like the workers there and everything.
yeah.
So we had a booth there, and I drove up there, took like a few photos of the team. Obviously, I was actually sick, so I wasn't able to stay too long. But
Yeah.
obviously now I'm watching all like the airsofters post the videos on it and everything. But it looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's like right above Houston, like probably
Okay.
10 minutes above Houston.
Yeah.
So fairly close, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I was talking with Honey Badger about it because he went out there and because he lives in Dallas Fort Worth, I guess, area, and so he drove out there and was playing on the indoor field. He said it's huge.
Yeah.
It's a really big. Because he was explaining it, I was like, how many people were playing? He's like, oh yeah, it was like 30 on 30. I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
for an indoor field, man,
It's
that's
like
crazy.
I didn't get to see the inside because there was such a long line. There was so many people there, and it's crazy because me and some friends, when it opened, we went there before like the big grand opening, like before they did that big event,
Yeah,
and like the parking lot was empty. There was like a few cars. Obviously, we saw like the store, and like it's crazy because you see like the main shopping area, and then you can walk around to where like the indoor field is, and there's like
yeah,
windows on the walls where you can look into the field and see like players, which is really cool. And the
yeah.
field looked pretty big from that, but like after going to the like the grand opening event, that parking lot was filled. It was absolutely insane. It's like at like not an abandoned mall, but it's like an old mall, I believe, and
Gotcha.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It looked definitely a lot nicer than the old field. I will say that from what I've been able to see. I haven't played in it
Yeah.
yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Now, do you play? Have you guys played like indoor? Have you ever done
Uh,
speed stuff or just milsim outdoor stuff?
just outdoor stuff.
Okay.
Obviously, at some of the outdoor places, there's like close quarter situations and buildings and stuff, but nothing
Right.
just indoor yet. I haven't gotten to try it yet, mainly because obviously the field is a lot farther than the outdoor field for me,
Hmm.
and usually by the time I'm able to like drive out to the field, it just kind of depends. So
Right.
yeah, I also like the outdoor fields a lot because it makes it easy for photos.
Yeah. No shit. Right.
Yep. So
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say with photos. I've seen a lot of really good pictures of some, outdoor play or whatever, but not as many of the Speed QB,
yep,
like good photos.
yep,
I've seen some photos, but not with the right lighting and because a lot of the indoors are kind of dark and stuff.
yeah, yeah. And
So,
it's hard too because to do indoor photography in situations like that, you 9 times out of 10 want to have like an on camera flash, but you also don't want to just sit there and like avoid people's positions and blind them and like
right.
it's just kind of one of those things too. Is like as a photographer, you kind of feel bad if you're like just sitting there like blind. So recently, I tried out my flash for my camera at the airsoft after it was the Ghost Frogs After Hours 2 event, and it was a
Yeah.
night game essentially. And I tried to flash a few times, but it wasn't. I don't know. It kind of felt you kind of feel bad like giving away someone's position, and yeah.
Hmm.
So
Right.
probably won't be doing that again. But I I don't know. I feel like indoor photography, like an indoor field, would be really difficult.
Right.
So
Yeah, they need to have the well lit,
mhm.
above head lighting, overhead lighting. But I was talking with somebody recently saying I was like, man, I don't know why all these indoor fields are so dark. They're just like whatever. And as he was talking about this new field he'd gone to, where was he at? Anyway, it was it's got green turf, so it's a fairly new like indoor speed QB field,
Okay.
and it doesn't have hard structures, and has the inflatables. It
Oh,
looks like
yeah,
a
yeah.
paintball. It looks just like a paintball.
It's like a speed QB field.
Yep, it's a speed
Okay.
QB field. Looks just like a paintball one. They got the inflatables, and the inflatables are white. The walls were bright, like white or whatever, and a lot of lighting. He said we could not see where our BBs were going.
Ah,
And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. So I guess the next day or whatever, they had put up kind of like drop netting along the walls that were about, 5 feet, 6 feet high, that was black, so that you could see the contrast.
gotcha.
Um, I never thought about that. That maybe that's why these indoor fields are a little darker, so that they can see their tracers and
Yep. That makes
shit like
sense.
that.
Because
Yeah.
like I guess if you're like laying down, you go to like shoot like up towards a building or something, like at a like event or something,
Uh
and I
huh.
mean it hits the sky. I mean your BB, you can't see it obviously.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It would. I feel like it would be. If they want to grow the sport, especially with the speed QB stuff, having tournaments and stuff, you're going to eventually have to. I mean, promotion is all about video and pictures.
Yep.
If you want to promote something, whether you come out with a new product or whatever it is, it could be whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, you've got to have some decent pictures and videos of that thing that you want to promote. And I feel like the indoor stuff, like you were saying, it's hard to get these indoor shots, in action shots,
Mhm.
because of the lighting. They're gonna have to figure out something to get some good photos and videos out there of the speed QB stuff to help promote it. If they want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, you could use a flash. Depending on like how the actual lighting is in general, you could probably get
Yeah.
away with just using your camera without having to have flashes set up. But yeah, I don't know. From what I was able to tell, the new spot in High Grounds Airsoft was pretty well lit.
Hmm.
So, and I mean, I feel like they could probably get away with like having the lights on for a few games and then dimming them down or whatever. But I don't know how that if they have like that set up or how that works. But
Yeah. This. I talked with the guy from Blue Mag Airsoft that does the BBs,
yep.
and he's talking about how they have come out with they started selling red tracers not long ago, and they're really popular. So red and blue.
Yep.
And he said the red ones are really popular, I guess, because maybe the indoor stuff, it's easier to see. And
Probably, yeah.
yeah, so anyway, maybe they'll figure something out with getting the lighting, and because I was like, bro, this every indoor field is dark and drab. Like, it's not fun to watch, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and it makes it hard to like as a videographer and photographer too. If you're trying to obviously photograph that and whatnot.
Right. Now, when you go to play with your team, do you what kind of setup do you run for your loadout, your what kind of gun and shit like that?
So my main gun is a Crytek Trident Mark II SPR. It's kind of like a
Nice.
longer M4 style or AR style. Forest green, and then pistol. I have a basic 1911 Elite Force pistol. I've actually painted it. It's like black and white now. It looks like an Oreo cookie almost. But I've
Oh
painted
shit.
it, and then extended clip on that. And then I'm trying to think. If you want, you could pull up some like kit loadouts from my airsoft page too to show that.
Oh, where's you have an airsoft page?
Yep.
Like on your Instagram?
Yep. It is Polaroid underscore airsoft.
Oh shit, that's right. I just found that recently. Yeah, I just started following that recently, right?
Yep. It's her. So you can kind of see some of my kit photos. Obviously, everyone's kit kind of changes
You
randomly,
can
but
share it. You can share it if you want.
yeah.
There we go. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, I do remember seeing this. In fact, I was surprised when I first saw this page. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know you had a separate one. Cool.
I made a separate one because I can't post stuff on my main photography page, or else people won't
Right.
follow because everyone, I guess, just wants to see wildlife. So
Sure. Yeah.
it's like, what, make people happy. So you kind of see, you kind of see like this is my first ever loadout. I had the PVC as a suppressor, pretty pretty ghetto, but yeah. and then you
That
kind of
looks,
see
I
the
mean, that looks good
progress.
to me. Yeah.
Here's the progress
That's a good
photo.
setup. Yeah.
We got the Pit Vipers. Obviously, you gotta stay stylish. But yeah,
Nice.
so on the Pit Vipers, I have this. I've always been. I don't know why, but I've always kind of like liked having sort of this ballistic riot look to like the
Yeah.
helmet.
Right.
And so now I have this, and I just stuck Pit Viper stickers on it, and it's cool because it's like a really good conversation starter. Like so many people at the field are like, "Dude, do Pit Viper do they make that visor?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, no, they don't." But and then obviously you talk to them and everything. It's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it kind of
So
gives it
that's an
like
attachment you put on your helmet that has that flip down visor thing.
sure. I feel like it
Yeah.
kind of stands out. You can see the old one right here. Kind of it was like a big, clear, bulky one.
Yeah, dude.
But
The riot. You need the riot shield.
I
Riot
feel like
response team.
people would get really annoyed at me. But yeah. So and I feel like
Nice.
too, it's kind of nice because I mean, if you're on the field and you look over and see someone like something like that on your helmet, I hope that you'd be able to like tell them apart from like who's who. So
Yeah. Well, not only that, it makes you look like you know what the hell you're doing.
yeah, we're gonna have people thinking I know what I'm doing.
That's okay. That's all it takes, bro. Tactical. Okay.
As long as you look good, right? So yeah. Here's my new gun, by the way, broom.
Oh wow! Look at that.
Shoots like 60 rounds a second.
Oh shit!
This is my main gun for Copperhead. No
There
one
you
will know
go.
what's coming. Run up
Nice.
and beat them with a broom.
You can brush all the BBs away.
Yeah, I don't think this was. I think that's what Mom meant when she was talking about sweep the house, not with the guns.
Oh shit! I saw
Yeah.
a video on that recently.
Yeah, it's been trending on TikTok and stuff. People were running around with their guns.
Yeah.
It was like Mom said to sweep the house, and there they are, fully loaded up. It's so funny.
Hell
So,
yeah. Well, listen,
yeah.
man, it's been great talking with you, man. I'm really
Yeah.
glad we got to hook up. I know it's been a couple months in the making as far as getting everything, our schedules and everything set up.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, I mean, it's funny too because I was like, I was watching some of the podcasts, and I was like, man, I think we talked about doing a podcast at some point.
Yep.
I was like, let me just like mess with them. So I commented on like one of the posts, and I was like, when's it my turn or something? Obviously, don't go out and like ask him when it's his turn because I'm sure that would be really annoying. But yeah, I was kind of messing.
It's not annoying at all.
Is
I
it
love
open for like everyone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I've said it on a handful of podcasts, and I try to tell people all the time. I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but I'm like, hey, I really enjoy this. So
Mhm.
I'm not one of those like, if I asked you a long time ago and you said no, then I'm just moving on. I'm not like that. I'm not like, I don't care. My ego doesn't do that. As far as this, I'm always very grateful to have somebody on here
Gotcha. Yeah.
and excited. Like I love to meet new people. This is really my passion.
Yeah.
And I love to hear people's stories. I do that in real life, in person. So I love doing it on here. It's a lot more streamlined on here. I don't have to actually go to Texas to meet you. This is,
I mean, you can next time. We can plan
absolutely.
something out. I'll have everyone fly out.
But I'm making friends on here in different states and countries that
Yeah.
I didn't have to, that I didn't meet here locally like I
Mhm.
normally do. So, no, man, it's always open. But yeah, I think you had message on there, and that doesn't bother me. So,
There you go.
I've had a couple of people on the Discord as well say that.
Nice.
Some of the younger guys, and like, hey, when's mine? I'm like, hey, when? What? Let's figure out a schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I told somebody recently, I was like, because they would hit me up like the day of. I'd get home from work and I'd have a message on there on Discord like, hey, are you free tonight? And I'm like, no, I got 2 podcasts tonight. And they're like, oh, darn. Okay, well, we wanted to get on there. Me and my buddy wanted to get on there. I'm like, well, how's next, whatever, Wednesday? And they're like, oh, I don't know that far ahead. They're in high school. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm sorry, man. If we play it by ear, I'm already scheduling like Saturday and Sunday. I'm scheduling for the following week,
Yeah.
filling it up. So it's, but yeah, I do not mind. I thought it was great that you did that because I think when we talked before, I can't remember if it was a scheduling thing or you were busy and something was going on. And then, yeah, there's so many people I've messaged.
Yep. You
I
just kind of
don't
forget.
remember
Yeah. Yeah.
who said no. And I don't want to keep bugging somebody, not because of me, like, oh, I'm not going to keep asking them. I don't want somebody to feel pressured.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I forget and I'm like, and I see you, let's say you post something or what, I'm like, oh yeah, I think we talked about it, but I can't remember if I asked him, he said no. So I don't want to, and if I'm not, I'm at work usually when I do this. So if I don't want to take the time to scroll through our chat messages, our history,
Yep. Yep.
uh, I'll just be like, I'll just wait and see if, they message me or whatever. But yeah, it's always open. Anyone that hears this, you can always, just hit me up and
You
say,
could
hey, yeah,
you could be the next person on the podcast. There you go.
right.
Be the next person. But
Yeah, for real. Yeah, no. So I was really glad to see your message about that. I thought it
sure.
was cool. Yeah.
I was like, I
Uh,
was kind of messed with him. I was like, I figured we talked about it before, so I'm sure he has no obviously issues with it. But yeah, so
Yeah. No, man. I always want people on. I don't, and I don't care about like, I don't tell people rules.
mhm.
Everyone asks me, they'll text me like, is there a setup, a standard? What do I need? What do I need to expect? I'm like, just if we met in real life,
Yep.
and we just had a conversation, that's it. I don't have a setup, I just don't do it. I don't work good that way, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
if I had a list of questions, it
Mhm.
seems I don't like that. I want somebody to feel comfortable. I wouldn't berate somebody with questions if they were here at our house and met them for the first time in
Exactly.
person.
Yeah.
I would just talk casually and whatever comes up, I'm not trying to force the conversation. That's
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah.
same thing with this. Now, I've had a couple times where I've said, "Hey, just give us a background real quick about, your history,
Yeah.
whatever."
It's like a rundown.
But
Yeah.
yeah, give me a rundown. But I feel like most of the things that I find out that are really interesting about people's background and their lives and what they're interested in and their hobbies and stuff outside of airsoft or whatever is it kind of comes up naturally or
Yeah.
organically in the conversation
Yeah.
if you just don't have this schedule of questions, you know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And it's funny too because I reached out to Evan and I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast with the Trifecta. I was like how like what do I do? I need to be prepared. Like, do I need to like have like answers ready for certain questions? He's like, dude, just like act as this normal conversation. He's like, it's so
yeah,
casual, and I'm like, all right. I was going to like open minded, but yeah, it's definitely been
good,
just very like just it's felt like a normal conversation. So that was definitely
awesome,
cool.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only way I can work. I can't
fair
do.
enough. It
I
works.
don't have
Fair enough.
rules. Like if somebody, hey, do we have? Are we allowed to talk about? You're allowed to talk about whatever, bro. Like I don't have rules. Don't talk about politics or religion or whatever. Like sometimes that is part of people's journey
Hmm.
that is important to how they got to airsoft or how they, whatever,
Yeah,
growing
you
up.
want to hear the story. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't, because our lives are full of things that influence us,
Hmm.
multiple things. It's not just one thing. It's not one event. It's not one, that's not how human life works. It's,
Exactly.
we have a ton of different things that go into this that make us like choose certain
Yeah.
things. And, and sometimes, religion and politics is a big part of people growing up.
Yeah.
That is, so no, I'm not going to say don't ever talk about it. Like I don't
Yep.
care, bro. If it comes up, it comes up. Whatever. I'm not going to stop anybody.
Yeah.
So
You don't want
yeah,
to limit.
it's
You don't
just
want to limit that, like what they're having to say. Yeah.
no, hell no. I want them to be genuine, just like I am,
Yeah.
and have fun talking about it. If it's uncomfortable, and that's the other thing too, Trenton, is why I do these recorded because if something, and I always tell people too, hey, it's recorded, it's not live. So if we get done and you didn't like how it went, just say, hey, don't post that. I'm not
Yeah.
going to post it.
Yeah.
I would never do that to somebody uh, so that I can get 5 views on fucking YouTube. Okay.
And then get demonetized immediately. It's
No
laugh.
shit. Like, bro, I don't know, whatever. So, nah,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's been really nice meeting you. I'm really glad you came on and, love to hear about your history, and I want to. I'll definitely. If I so what should I do? I guess just send you maybe pick one of your pictures and send you a DM with, hey, I'd like this in a. I'm not sure what size it is, but if you don't mind me showing you real quick, see that one right there? I guess that's kind of like a 12 by, or maybe a 14 by something. Well, whatever. I can measure it,
Okay.
and but it's something around that size, like
Yeah.
maybe that kind of style.
Yeah, we can work something out. Yeah, definitely. Definitely let me know. Just send me a photo, send me the measurements you want, and I can figure something out for you. But
Awesome, dude.
that'd be awesome. I'll sign it and everything.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Okay.
You can sell it on eBay eventually for like $1.
Dude, I would never sell any of the specialty shit I get from people that's on the wall, and we've had fan mail and stuff. Dude, I would
Yeah,
never sell it. I don't care what kind of collector stuff it is. Those are
special.
I never thought of myself as a sentimental person, to be honest. But I would never do that.
Yeah,
Like, that's staying with this family, you know.
yeah. What I'll do is I'll put my last name, and then like, if in case you ever need to sell it, people will be like, "Oh,
Shit.
he's famous."
JT signed it. What?
Justin Timberlake. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, when we first started, I was going to make a joke in the beginning, like Trenton Timberlake.
You should have.
I'm sure you've heard it your whole fucking life.
Never.
No one's ever asked.
Nope.
Yeah, like, oh, you related to Justin Timberlake? But anyway,
It's funny actually because growing up like in school and everything, you would think I would have used that to my advantage to like, like get cut in line and everything. Like, yeah, I'll let you talk to like Justin Timberlake. But it actually annoyed me when I was younger because I didn't want the attention at all. And I've always been just kind of to myself, do my own thing. But people are always like asking me about it. So it's actually, I'll just go and tell it real quick. I am related to Justin Timberlake. We're seventh cousins technically.
What?
Yep. Does he know who I am?
Oh my God! See here, I'm like trying not to make a joke out of it, and it's true.
I seventh cousins. I'm pretty darn sure that he has no clue who I am. But however, I am related to my first cousin. His real name is Justin, and last name Timberlake. So I've always told people, yeah, I'm related to Justin Timberlake, like the real one. And then they're like, do you have his number? When I was younger, I would give them his number, and they'd call him, and he's some hillbilly in West Virginia. He's like, hello? And they're like, you're not Justin Timberlake? He's like, yeah, this is him. And they're like, what? So that was always fun. But yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's the real one, but never met him.
That's awesome, man. Pretty
But
crazy.
Yeah, cool story.
Yeah, man. Small world. Yeah, I love JT. When we have parties over here, I have a little outdoor TV that I put outside this wall here on our deck, and we play music on it. So a little soundbar thing under it, and we have the Justin Timberlake kind of like mix or whatever, the party mix thing or whatever, the upbeat,
The
fun songs and shit.
Yeah,
dude. Oh yeah.
Well,
That's cool.
Next time you hear it, you can think of me, his long lost cousin.
Right. That is so cool. Okay. Awesome. Well, appreciate you, Trenton. It's good talking with you.
It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been fun. So
awesome. You have a good night, man.
Yes, sir. You too. Have a good one.
All right.